Hello, I'm Tomato Basil Girl. I post for the tomatoes, and today I'm posting for Velma Dinkley. You read the title. This is about Scooby Mystery Incorporated. I have some things to talk about first, though, so you're gonna have to wait a little bit. I hope that's okay. That's okay with you. First off, I have a really all or nothing mindset, and I'm the type of person that won't do stuff if I'm not gonna do it full effort. Or if I'm not going to complete the task, if I'm only going to do half the task, I won't do it. Also, yeah, my room's a mess. Okay, I'll get to that in a sec. I won't do anything unless I know I will complete it. And that's really evil mindset, and it's not a good mindset because it means I do nothing. So the better mindset to have is you can do something even if it's a little bit, because doing a little bit is better than doing nothing. I know how frustrating it is to look at your progress and like it not being what you want, but it's still progress. Another thing is so the reason I'm posting this video and posting content publicly, I feel like I have to defend myself. My biggest fear is that somebody I know will see my YouTube or TikTok content and be like, she's trying to be famous. And ultimately, I would love to be famous, but not for a TikToker. I write books. I want to be famous for writing. This is just for fun, and I really feel like I have to I feel like people don't understand the concept of doing things for fun. I feel like people see somebody doing something and assume like alternative intentions or like bad intentions when it's really like I'm just having fun. And so I kind of got into a mindset where I'm like, here's the thing, people don't like, unless they're like somebody they love, it's not easy to get famous off of content that is just you talking. That's no editing, it's bad quality. I'm actually filming on my computer to embrace the low quality bad vibes because, not bad vibes, these are good vibes, but like low quality like talking on FaceTime vibes because I think that's fun, because some of my favorite content is people just talking for 30 minutes to a camera. But I realized, like, it's really hard to get popular doing that. It's really hard to, like, get famous doing that, and that's ultimately not the goal. However, I definitely used to have a problem where I overshared on the internet. So I try to strictly post about media and books. It's kind of my thing. That's what I'm into. So I try not to post about my personal life. However, I do have to say, life is too short to care about what other people think. And also, my dad was in a terrible accident and is going to be in the hospital for a while. So I'm kind of coping, and instead of coming here and oversharing every single bad feeling I'm feeling about it, I'm just gonna talk about Scooby-Doo. And I understand nobody will watch this, which is perfectly fine with me. But I also understand that, like, I really don't care if people enjoy this content because I'm not making this content for people. However, I am insecure about people thinking I want to be famous. I'm not insecure because I want to be famous. Does that make sense? I feel like that makes perfect sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you. Anyways, hi. I'm Tomato Basil. I post with tomatoes. I also don't share my name publicly. I got that from Pot Roast Mom. Pot Roast Mom is like, I don't share my name. And I was like, if I ever do become a famous author, I will most likely share my name. I'm debating becoming a famous author and not letting anyone know my identity, or like being like somebody who barely, like a Suzanne Collins, like doesn't have social media, or fully embracing being brain rotted on social media and making like video essays for a living. It's gonna be one of the two. Anyways, I'm Tomato Basil Girl. I don't share my name. I'm also terrified of somebody doxing me and sharing my name, like me getting popular, then somebody being like, this is her full legal name, and me being like, oh. But you can just call me Tomato Basil Girl. Miss Basil, if you prefer. Yeah, okay. I wanted to talk about Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. I just finished the series. It's only 2 seasons, and it's 26 episodes, and honestly, I wrote down, this is how long it took me. I did, like, a I didn't use AI, but it's actually, I like just Googled, what, like, how long it was, and then immediately it popped up, like, a date thing, where it's, like, you put in a date, and then you put in another date, and it tells you how far between they are, and I'm like, why do people use AI? The internet is already, like, so powerful, like, you don't need, and it told me the details, this random website told me the details, so it took me 72 days, 10 weeks and 2 days, 2 months and 11 days. I started it April 2nd, 2026, and it is 2 a.m. My life's a mess right now. Okay. And it is June 13th, 2026. So, here are my thoughts on it. Okay, first off, context. I did not grow up watching Mystery Incorporated. It came out when I was 3. I was like, why didn't I watch this growing up? Because I'm also currently rewatching 2012 TMNT, which I did watch growing up. I watched up until season 4. I'm now on season 4. I'm scared. I'm almost halfway through and I'm scared. Because bad things are gonna happen and I'm scared. But I don't know why I didn't watch it growing up, and then I was like, oh, because I was 3 years old. And I also didn't watch a lot of Cartoon Network growing up. Cartoon Network was like, I don't know, my dad honestly didn't care what I watched, and my mom was like, Cartoon Network's bad, and I'm like, why is, okay. I was more of a Disney and Nickelodeon girl. So, how I found out about Mystery Incorporated is I had a friend, and she was watching through Mystery Incorporated, and, I watched the Gator. No, I don't know if it was, I think it was Gatorville. No, because that means she was, like, on episode 2. Okay, here's the thing. It might have, I know I watched an episode with her, like, on Halloween, and I was like, this is such a good show, and I started watching it, and then I didn't finish it. I DNF'd it. I stopped watching it, but I think I remember her saying when she thinks of Scooby-Doo, she thinks of Gatorsville. So now when I think of Scooby-Doo, I think of Gatorsville. It's so fun seeing how people influence you. It's, like, so funny, like, when you think of something specifically for a reason, and it's because of a certain person. I don't really, like, I think it's fun for any person, really, unless it's, like, a bad thing, but, like, I think it's really fun. Even, like, random kids. There was a girl in my middle school who every time she listened to Stacy's mom, she said she thought of me, and I just think that's really fun. Anyways, so I started watching it, and okay, here's the thing. When she said when she thinks of Scooby-Doo, she thinks of Gatorsville, which Gatorsville is an incredible episode. It's, like, episode 2. It's so good. But when I thought of Scooby-Doo, I thought of Where Walks Aphrodite, which I believe is, like, episode 16. And so I got that far in, but I didn't finish, season 1. And then a couple years later, I started it again, and I finished it, and I didn't like the ending. That's what I remember most. I also didn't remember any of season 2 because I got really frustrated that it was taking me so long to finish it, so I binged season 2 in, like, 3 days, and I posted TikToks, like, in the style of me just talking, but it was, sometimes you'll, like, look back on your 16-year-old self and be like, she needs critical help, and I hope she gets it, and you know she didn't, but the thought's nice. The thought is nice. So that's how I felt rewatching those. Here's the thing. You know the quote that, like, people meme on where it's like, what, were you evil or were you just 16? I do think people use that quote as, like, a scapegoat. However, I do think some of you were just 16. And, like, that's a good example of me just being 16. That wasn't me being evil. That was just me being cringy. And I'll probably look back on this video and think the same thing, so. I don't really care. To be cringe is to be free. But I filmed reactions. I haven't gone back and I watched some of my reactions and I literally had to stop because it was, like, so. I was just talking about how much in love I was with Daphne and Fred, and I feel very differently now. But I finished season 2 in, like, 3 days, and I didn't like the ending. And then how I started watching it again, like what made me decide to rewatch it, was I watched it, I think, in like 2024. So it hasn't, honestly, that feels like forever ago. I'm the type of person that like 2 months feels like forever ago. I feel like so much happens. Not just my life kind of feels like a literary fiction, or not a lot happens, like plot wise, but emotionally I'm always like, there's always something going on. Even if it's good, there's still always something. I just feel a lot. I feel a lot. So it's hard for me to like realize that like maybe not that much time has passed, but 2024 is when I watched it, I'm pretty sure. And then I started it April 2nd because I wanted a show. I really think the method of like consuming 2 types of media at once is extremely useful. I'm trying to do it with books. I suck. I'm the type of person that with reading, if I listen to like an audiobook but I don't read physically, I'm a failure. But if I read physically and don't listen to my audiobook, I'm a failure. So it's hard for me. But TV shows is a lot easier. Because I'm also really good at like watching both TV shows almost daily. For a while, I had a method where I only watched Ninja Turtles on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but then I just got so engrossed in it that I'm watching it daily now. But I needed a break from Ninja Turtles because, spoiler, Master Splinter dies, and I can't do that right now. I literally can't do that right now. I can't do that right now, so I might be taking a brief hiatus from it. I might, like, finish I'm watching it through the box set of DVDs. I might take a break after this disc and just like not touch it for a while because I just can't. I'm at a very I can't handle anything emotionally charged time in my life right now, so that's where I am. But I started watching Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated because I watched a Scooby-Doo movie. I watched the Loch Ness Monster movie, which is good. It's very rare I'll watch a Scooby-Doo movie and, like, that's bad. I don't recommend it. I recommend almost every single Scooby-Doo movie. I love Scooby-Doo. And so I was like, I should rewatch Mystery Inc. And then I watched the first episode. I was like, I don't know. And then I was, like, in a really bad mood. And then I watched the second episode. And I was like, I'm gonna rewatch it. And I was on episode 17, and I was, like, slowly waking myself through it. Here's the thing. I'm gonna admit this because I don't have an audience, and then people won't hold me accountable. I pirated the whole show. And I jumped through hoops and loops to get this. Specifically, I watched episode 17 to episode 26. That's, like, hold on, math confuses me because when you're counting something, you have to add a number. I don't know why. You can call me stupid. I don't know why. So if you're, like, on page 10 and the chapter ends on page 20, you don't have 10 pages left, you have 11, because you have to count that page you're reading currently. So I had like 11 or 12 episodes left. I think 11. I don't know. I'm not doing the math. And there is a website called mysteryinc.org where you can just pirate Scooby-Doo, everything. You can pirate every single thing that is Scooby-Doo, you can pirate. And it's an amazing website. Here's the thing, I would love to own Mystery Inc. on DVD. It's hard to find, though, but I would love to own it on DVD. I'd also love to own literally every single Scooby-Doo movie on DVD, even the ones I don't really like. I'd still want to own them. Because they're honestly lost media. It is so, there's very few streaming services show Scooby-Doo, and they show like 1 or 2 movies. Not even Tubi shows. Tubi doesn't even show Scooby-Doo movies. So I'm not going to be ashamed for pirating. And mysteryinc.org is a very useful website, except it doesn't work half the time. It actually worked for majority of me watching Mystery Inc. Incorporated. But as of recently, it's been wonky. I have faith it will make a full recovery. But I had to do dark magic to like watch this show. I had to like go through like 17 illegal different websites. But it worked out. And what made me decide to watch this is my dad was hit by a car. So I was like, you know what? I need a distraction. And I also was, like, debating starting a new TV show. I cannot do 3 TV shows at once. So I was like, I do think it would be really fun to have a show I can binge throughout this to distract myself that isn't the Ninja Turtles, because I can't handle the Ninja Turtles. But I need to finish Mystery Inc. So I finished Mystery Inc. I do this a lot where I'm like, I'm going to consume this amount of media in one night. And it's like 11 episodes, 22-minute episodes isn't like an extraordinary amount of media, but it is a lot for me. I'm a slow watcher, I'm a slow reader, I'm a slow consumer. But I'm like, I'm gonna do this, this, and that, and then I don't ever do it. So I think it was really low pressure. I was like, if I do it, I do it, and if I don't, and I'm supposed to be having fun. And I actually really enjoyed myself. And it was a really good time. And I would ultimately I would recommend this show. That was kind of my like thing I was wanting to figure out. I was like, would I also think it's like kind of a fun part of media. Recently I finished the Game Changer series, and I had a great time reading it. I don't think it's bad writing in the way where it's like it keeps you engaged, definitely. I just think it's like not the best media, not for any like because it's bad, or just I wouldn't recommend it unless to a very like specific audience who I know would enjoy it. But Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, I'm recommending it to everyone. I think this is required watching. My thing of like, I like to do like what's required watching if you're a fan of blank. And for Scooby-Doo, I said Mystery Inc. I don't plan to watch any other Scooby-Doo show. I don't really care to. Mystery Inc. I have so much of Mystery Inc. in my heart. There's no room for anyone else. And then for for movies, I said Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. The best Scooby-Doo. I didn't think I'd like it because it was so old. The twist at the end, so good. And then Scooby-Doo live action. Classic, essentials, but also if you want more recommendations, let me know. My current Scooby-Doo obsession is Scooby-Doo and the Phantosaurus, which, like, what's a Phantosaurus? A ghost dinosaur, and it's so good. And I'm actually reading Jurassic Park because I wanted something I wasn't gonna get super emotionally attached to that wasn't just like a smutty little romance book. I love smutty little romance books, but I was getting a little burnt out, but I know I emotionally can't handle anything devastating. So Jurassic Park, I wanted to read it for a long time, and I've been trying to find the audiobook. But I think reading it physically is actually really fun. Reading physically feels like a little treat to me because I don't do it a lot. I'm doing ebook, which I consider physical reading. There's no difference to me. But it's like, it's fun. So, anyways, I wrote down, okay, so how I do this is I have a media journal. This is my current media journal. Isn't it so cute? I felt like this screamed sad girl summer. This screamed yearning. I don't know. Maybe sometimes you'll like hear somebody describe something and you'll be like, I think you're digging. I don't ever think this, but sometimes people on the internet are like, she's thinking way too hard about this. I am the type of person where I'll just like assign a certain vibe, I hate that word, but like vibe to something. This screams sad girl Phoebe Bridgers summer to me. It screams devastating. It screams the things in this journal are going to be heartbreaking, and really what's in this journal is Scooby-Doo reviews. So but I write down journal entries for every episode of TV I watch. Yeah, I don't think it's a thing everyone wants to do. I think for some people it will take the fun out of watching TV. It's like, because it makes you more engaged in the show, and like you have to be writing down your thoughts and you have to actually be paying attention. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But it makes media, I love writing, obviously. So, but I did write on this little card, which is like my trophy for finishing the series. I love this card, of all my like recurring thoughts, like things that I thought throughout the series. Some of them are more like things I realized, like I was like, wait, this is like a recurring thing and I really like it. But yes, I'm gonna talk about all of those, and then I'm gonna talk about like the ending. I will spoil. I love spoiling stuff. I am the type of person, I feel like you can't talk about something without spoiling it. That's just me. But these are like all my recurring thoughts. I feel like a thing I really loved about Scooby-Doo is like it's very cohesive. It felt very cohesive. My biggest gripe with it is I do think season 1 was stronger than season 2. Sometimes I think critiquing media and art takes the fun out of it. I think for some people that is the fun. But I'm not the type of person that can, like, I try to figure it out by myself. I really have to be told. I can't tell you why I don't like something. I just know I don't like it. Maybe I'm a sheep. I don't know. But that's just how I am as a person. So I can't tell you why I liked season 1 better than season 2. All I know, I was also a lot happier when I was watching season 1, so that might be it. And also, I remembered season 1 a lot more vividly, and I'm the type of person that really likes knowing what's going to happen. I love spoilers. I love knowing exactly what's going to happen. I love it. I am the type of person that will always enjoy the reread more than the original read. I have never been like, oh my god, I wish I could read that for the first time. I wish I could listen to that for the first time. I'm like, no, I don't like listening to stuff for the first time. I'm so glad I know it, though. So that could be very well a reason. I just think season 2 kind of dragged a bit. I don't know. Some of the plot points, like Daphne and Fred, I love them. They were my favorite when I first watched it. I have a new favorite. But they were my favorite when I first watched it, and I do think their love story is very cute. However, I do think it, like, dragged, and I think Fred had a lot of personality outside of it, and I just don't think Daphne had that much personality, and that's not a flaw in Daphne. I love Daphne Blake. I just think she's often reduced to Fred's girlfriend, and I think she is very intelligent, and I think they could have done more with her. Shaggy and Scooby piss me off kind of endlessly. I hate them. They're my least favorite characters in every single Scooby-Doo thing. Actually, I ranked, like, I've watched, like, 21 Scooby-Doo movies now, but, when I had only watched 10, I ranked them. I ranked, like, not my top 10, my, like, Scooby-Doo movies, 10 Scooby-Doo movies, and I did, like, a little point system, and one of the points was, like, if Shaggy and Scooby annoyed me, then it got, like, less points. I hate Shaggy and Scooby. How can you love Scooby-Doo and hate Shaggy and Scooby? I do it. Babe, I do it. They are very annoying to me. They got less annoying throughout the series, but if you don't know anything about Mystery Incorporated, Velma and Shaggy, it starts off with them having, like, a fling. It's so stupid. This whole show is just so ridiculous, and I love it. I do love it, but it's genuinely so ridiculous how there's no logic whatsoever. Shaggy, like, is hiding his relationship with Velma because he's afraid of what Scooby will think. I'm like, oh, that's dramatic. Scooby's jealous of Velma. I don't know what that says about a man that he's choosing a dog over his girlfriend. Here's the thing. I would choose my dog over a partner. I would, if my partner disliked my dog. I think it's insane if my dog was, like, super jealous of my partner. I don't know. It felt weird. And you know what pissed me off is later on in the season, I thought it was in season 2 this happened. This was in season 1. Shaggy fell for a girl and was like, I don't care what Scooby thinks. And then later on, Scooby-Doo got a girlfriend. It's like, but in my opinion, Velma's a lesbian, and that's not an opinion, that's a fact. And she's in love with hot dog water. So I don't really care that they didn't end up together. I'm glad they didn't end up together, but it made me hate Shaggy. This was the start of my hatred for Shaggy. This show is what made me decide Shaggy Rogers was an enemy. However, he got a lot better throughout the series. I will give this to Shaggy and Scooby. They are some of the most reasonable characters in Scooby-Doo. Because what will happen is, like, somebody will be like, here's this insane thing you have to do. And Shaggy and Scooby are like, we're not going to do that insane thing. And then Velma, Daphne, and Fred are like, yes, we are. And Shaggy and Scooby are like, and then Shaggy and Scooby are left as bait. So I kind of get why they're evil, but it's still not an excuse. But I do think it's kind of reasonable to not want to do an insane, crazy thing. However, Velma, Daphne, and Fred are just very committed to the bit, I guess. And they are all also, every single character, I talk about this later in my notes, every single character in this show is deeply unhinged. I think unhinged is a little overused word. I feel like, I want you to understand what I mean. Like, they are deeply unhinged. Like, nobody in the show makes any logical sense, and it's incredible. It's truly, the absurdity of this show is beautiful. The costume design's really good. The character design's really good. Not often, I occasionally, if you don't know, there's like 1,000 Scooby-Doo movies made. I'm working my way through them. I will occasionally pick a Scooby-Doo movie strictly because I think Daphne will have a cute outfit in it. Usually Daphne is my favorite character design. Velma's actually my favorite character design in Mystery Incorporated, but I still think Daphne has the best costumes. I love fun Daphne costumes. I think she has such a cohesive and concise color scheme, and I think she's so iconic, she's so recognizable, that you can really do so many variations of her outfit, and it's still so Daphne. I love Daphne's outfits, and I love the character design. I was just watching one of the episodes, and I was just writing about how much I loved it, and like how fun it is, and like how colorful it is. I also love, I don't know her name, the mayor in season 2 who replaces Fred's dad. I just call her the girl mayor. Janet, I think is her name. I love her outfit. I think her color scheme is so much fun. I think she's so cute. She generally looks like a doll. Like, she's so pretty. So I also loved Angel. Angel is one of the kids' friends. She's the only reasonable adult. She is the only reasonable character in this show. She's the only reasonable adult. But she's really pretty too. I love the character design. I thought it was so cute. I love the costume design. I guess costume isn't the right word because it's animated. But I really love the character design. I also love the set design. It's good vibes all around. Velma's my favorite character. In Mystery Incorporated, I think Velma is often done a disservice as well. I think she's often just smart, and that's the only thing to her, or she's madly in love with someone. It's uncharacteristic Velma, where she falls in love, and that's acceptable if she's in love with a woman, like Scooby-Doo Trick or Treat. She's in love with a woman. If she's in Phantosaurus, my favorite movie, she's in love with a man. Despicable, terrible, awful. We hate it. But I really think Velma's the most complex character. Yeah, I'm using that word complex for Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. I think she's the most complex character in this show. I think she is the best. I think she has the most depth. I think she's the best written, and I love her. And she's also the funniest. She's by far the funniest. Here's the thing. This show, certain characters are more reasonable than other characters in certain ways. So, Scooby and Shaggy not wanting to do insane side quests are technically more reasonable than their counterparts, but they're still not reasonable at all. Velma's reasonable in the way where she's just, super blunt and dry, and she'll just, say it how it is. I love her. I love her. I love her. And it took me 21 episodes for me to be no, she's my favorite character. And now I want to rewatch the show just thinking about how much I love Velma. I love her so much. She means so much to me, okay? Sheriff Bronson Stone is my favorite. Oh, okay. Sheriff Bronson Stone and Mayor Jones are my favorite side characters, and it is disservice they didn't end up together. I think Sheriff and his wife are very lovely. But I love these two characters. Again, Sheriff Bronson Stone just brings an absurdity to the show. He is genuinely so unhinged. I think 90% of the unhingedness in this show comes from Sheriff Bronson Stone. I think he is just crazy, and he just says I also love Daphne does this a lot too, where Daphne does this all the time, where she talked a lot about her mom going to the hospital, the psychiatric hospital, and she'll just say it so casually and nobody will acknowledge it, and then everyone will move on. It has such good one-liners. This show has such good I have so many written in my journals of just they'll say something insane and then everyone will just move on. Nobody will acknowledge it. Here, let me see if I can find an example. I won't be able to find a Daphne example, even though hers are the best. Let me see. I always write it down in quotes, so let me see. Oh my god, how much did I write about it? Let me try to find one and then I'll come back. Here is one of the things Sheriff Bronson Stone said. I think my plan of letting the herd enslave humanity is better. Oh my god, also, hold on, let me find it. At one point, Fred said, I never understand anything. Also, Shaggy described Mayor Jones as Fred's non-parental. So, there's just amazing one-liners in the show. Oh, why did I close it? I need that. There's just amazing one-liners in the show. I genuinely love it. I love it. So, I am kind of like dealing right now with like that post like finishing a show sadness. I'm sad. This is a bigger deal than me graduating high school. It is. It is. It's more of an accomplishment. I put a lot more effort into this than I did high school. So, yeah, okay. Let's move on to the next thing, which is going to be upside down, because I have it taped in, but, oh, this is just, yeah, every single character is deeply unhinged. They're also all so selfish. They honestly, this whole town, it's a curse. That's how it's explained. But this whole town is just like ultimately only looking out for themselves. There are two good adults in their lives, and it's the girl mayor, Janet, and Angel. Those are the only two good adults in their life. Everybody else is deeply unhinged and would let those kids die. Complex feelings on Daphne and Fred's relationship. I do think it got dragged out way too much, and I don't mind that they dragged it out, really. I just wish it wasn't their whole personalities. I feel like every single time it showed Daphne and Fred, it was about their romance. It's like, they can exist outside of that. Hot Dog Water's the true hero of the show. I love Hot Dog Water. I love her plotline. I think she's also a really well-written, interesting, dynamic character, and I think her and Velma should have ended up together. So, that's my opinion. Another running bit in the show is that there is, I think there's only 2 examples, but there's a couple and then there's a family who, several episodes, not like a lot, I think the family, it's like 4 episodes, and the couple, it's like 3, will be shown at the beginning of an episode to like show the monster. So like the family in the second episode is driving to Gatorsville, and then the Gatorville's monster comes out and they get attacked, and that happens several times to them with different monsters. I think that's hilarious. I think it's so funny that they have a running bit of just showing the evil monster by like terrorizing a couple or a family. I think that's so funny. My favorite episodes were, these are a little out of order. So, Season 2, Episode 6, Art of Darkness. Season 2, Episode 15, Theater of Doom. Season 1, Episode 2, Beware of the Beast Below. Season 1, Episode 4, Revenge of the Man Crab. Season 1, Episode 15, The Wild Broad. Season 1, Episode 24, Dead Justice. Season 2, Episode 16, Alien Among Us. My favorite 2 in Season 2 were Theater of Darkness and Alien Among Us. Those 2 being back-to-back was incredible. That's what, even though I felt Season 2 was dragging and I wasn't as happy as it, that was, like, what made me decide, like, I'm going to keep watching this show. I was gonna watch it anyways, but, like, that would, like, it helped push that. I think for Season 1, I love the Gatorsville episode. I love it. And I also really liked Wild Broad. That's also another one I very vividly remember watching for the first time. And I really like it. So, ultimately, I would recommend the show. I don't like the ending. Spoiler, the ending is like they defeated the bad guy, so they got transferred to another dimension where they, like, there's, like, only good in Crystal Cove, and, like, it's super happy now. I didn't like it. I liked when everyone was evil. I did. However, I do think it's better for the children's mental health. I also think they do need to seek intensive outpatient therapy, though. But I did really enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. I really recommend it. I think if you are, I'd recommend it. Obviously, like, it's hard to say, like, I'd recommend this to every single person. But I would recommend this if you, I think this is like a classic children's TV. If you watch a lot of children's TV, if you're like really into it, I also think you would really like it if you liked Gravity Falls, which obviously you liked Gravity Falls. If you didn't, what's wrong with you? But I think, you know, like, it's a really good show if you like children's TV. I don't think it's, like, a good show if you don't like children's TV. I also think it's a really good show if, if you like animated TV, maybe not just specifically children, but if you like animated television, I think you'd really like it. And it's also like, I know some people are binge watcher warriors and can like finish this show probably in like a day, 2 days. So it's short, you can finish it quickly, but it's also something you can watch over a span of time and not get boring. I know I said it dragged out a little bit, but I still think it's like one of those things, even though it was dragging out a bit, it was still so worth the watch. And there was never really a time where I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. It was more of like, maybe I'm not super excited to watch it, but it's well written, it's a good show. It's also just so funny. If you like funny TV, you will like this. It's really funny. It's really fucking funny. But yeah, that's all my thoughts. I am gonna go now. I might come back in a little bit to like do a ending, outro, but I might not. So if this is goodbye, then goodbye. I have one last thing to talk about, which is kind of unrelated, but I want to talk about it, and it's my video. Okay, first off, I have to disclaim, I am not shaming anybody for consuming media fast. I think, honestly, the reason I'm thinking about this discourse has kind of been, like, on my mind, is I follow a, hold on, my dog wants in. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. I follow an influencer online who did like a 30 books in 30 days reading challenge, and somebody unprompted was like, you should read books over time, which obviously like nobody asked. And then I saw a comment that's like, I actually like reading books fast because the information stays with me more, because if I read it over a long period of time, I often forget what's going on. And as somebody with ADHD, that resonated so much. However, I do think there's a conversation worth having about like feeling the need to consume media at like light rate and like not take your time with media and really enjoy it. Here's the thing, I think all types of consuming media can be enjoyable if you're enjoying it, and I think assuming somebody else isn't enjoying consuming media the way they are because you wouldn't enjoy consuming media that way, it's weird. So like personally, sometimes picking out a book and like reading it over the weekend or like reading it in one day is extremely fun, and other times it's really fun to like spend a month with a book. And like this book, I also think it's really fun. I think the most fun thing honestly about media, and there's a lot of fun things, but I think the most fun thing is like when media brings you back to a certain time in your life. If you listen to the same playlist repeat your sophomore year, and then hearing that playlist again, it's like, oh my god, I feel like I'm transported back to that time. I think that's the most fun. I think that's the best way to consume media. It doesn't matter how long you spent with it, but if it can take you back to a certain time in your life, I think that's the best way to consume it. And I don't know, that's just been on my mind. I'm gonna go now though. So, thank you for watching this if you did, which you're probably just me from the past because I wanted to hear my thoughts about Scooby-Doo. Hey girl. Actually, I never rewatch anything I film, ever, so. But, yeah, that's all. Go watch Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated if you want to. If it sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend it. And I also think it's really important, one last thing I'll say, is I think it's really important to have media that's, like, easily consumable, that isn't just our phones. I think a lot of people get really judgmental, like, you're consuming really easy media, and it's like, yeah, do you want me to just doom scroll all day? It's, like, all I can handle right now. And even if you can handle, like, more, like, intense, complex media, I think it's still really fun to just have something simple. So don't let people make you feel bad. That's what I'm trying to say. I think I'm gonna go to bed because it's 2:37 a.m. So, good